Beg harder. Beg me harder, Democrats. Beg me harder that I got to support Kamala. Because that nutless cuck of a wonder, Bernie, is asked about the status of the 2024 race, about the fight between Mamalo, Kamala, and evil orange boogeyman, Woogie Boogie Boogie, a Donald Trump. Because, guys, everybody, from all my moderators to all my people here, Trump, he's bad. And that's what Bernie Sanders says all the time, every time. And see, Gar, you're saying F Bernie, F them all. Well, it's okay. But watch Bernie beg. Who wants to watch Bernie beg and once again twist himself in a pretzel about why? This election is the most important election of our lifetime.
Just 5 days left to go. There's been an army of surrogates fanning out across the country, both campaigns. On the Kamala Harris side, it's represented this remarkably broad coalition of voters from progressives to business leaders to lifelong Republicans.
Yes. You got AOC up there. You got the Frankenstein monster, Fetterman. You got, the failed male clone of Rachel Maddow, Mark Cuban. And hey, Liz Cheney's daughter. Or not Liz Cheney. Liz Cheney, the daughter of Dick Cheney. See, I only had 1 cup of coffee. I need to have 2 cups of coffee in the morning.
Or putting the Constitution and country over party, as Liz Cheney puts it. One of those surrogates who's been hitting the trail very hard is Senator Bernie Sanders of Vermont. He helped kick off the Progressives for Harris group's launch call in August after the switch put Harris at the top of the ticket. In just the last few weeks alone, he's been campaigning across the country in Michigan, Pennsylvania, Wisconsin, even down in Texas. Senator Bernie Sanders, independent of Vermont, joins me now. Senator, you've been out on the trail. You've spent decades talking to folks, talking to voters, know what campaigns are like. What's your general feeling about things right now?
Well, I wish I could give you some brilliant analysis, but I'm going to tell you what everybody else is saying. It's going to be a very, very close election.
Yes, because I'm a cuck. 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 A cuck. A cuck.
It's going to come down to small numbers of votes in a handful of states. But what I will tell you is going to Pennsylvania, going to Wisconsin just a few days ago, there's a lot of energy on the ground. I was especially delighted in Pennsylvania to see hundreds and hundreds of trade unionists coming out in Erie, Pennsylvania, Harrisburg, Pennsylvania. They're going out, they're knocking on doors. They know what this election is about and why Trump has got to be defeated and Kamala has got to be elected. So a lot of energy on the ground, large meetings in Wisconsin, college campuses, Madison. We're making some progress.
Yeah, it's the point about trade unions is interesting. It sometimes feels that like Elon Musk was like conjured from the mind of Bernie Sanders to embody the billionaire class. Like with,
I got my problems with a lot of these billionaires and people, but look, this is massive projection because, if Bernie Sanders was the fighter that he said he was, he would be holding the Democratic Party accountable because we can never forget. Don't forget. Elon Musk gave money to Democrats, Bernie. You're good friends. You're a political party that screwed you up the wazoo, not once, but twice. But I guess you learned your lesson the third time, right? Because you supported Biden right out the bat and then Kamala Mamala.
With his, using essentially Citizens United to spend hundreds of millions of dollars, the record that he's had virulently anti-union in the actual businesses.
And look, you've had corporations and CEOs and businessmen just like Elon Musk out there doing their own fair share of terrible things, okay? Well, because I guess he's all in with Trump, I guess, evil all around. Hey, what about all the war criminals that are supporting Kamala? What about all the jagoff actors and actresses in the land of Hollywood where they're all probably involved in the P. Diddy freakout parties, or is it that in that little black book that belonged to first name Jeffrey, last name E? What about that? What about those people? There's a lot of scumbags on both sides. Sorry, I'm just getting angry.
He runs, particularly Tesla, the promises he's making. It seems to me, I wonder how much that's penetrating, but It does seem to me like if you have any question about which side the Trump campaign's on, Musk's presence is a pretty good indicator.
Well, Chris, you're absolutely right. And one of the things that has bothered me is we have not talked enough about in this campaign the unbelievable amount of money that billionaires are spending. You know, in Trump's campaign, you got 3 billionaires who are spending combined hundreds of millions of dollars.
And what about the hundreds of millions of dollars going into Kamala's campaign and all the stupid emails going out to all my former supporters? That's right. Remember, Bernie? You gave away our emails. That's why I'm getting text messages and emails every goddamn day. Kit, can you give us $47? Kit, can you give us $5? Kit, we need $75. Kit, you gotta give Kamala some money. No, F you, give me money. Give me money. Give my people, give my viewing audience money. Where's the money? Give us the money.
To elect Donald Trump as president. Democrats have their billionaires. But what we have got to deal with is the reality that we cannot allow this type of billionaire money to determine who the next president of the United States is. And the word has got to go out. Citizens United has got to go, in my view, public funding of elections.
You know, one of those other billionaires, Miriam Adelson, is the widow of the late Sheldon Adelson, casino magnate,
Right.
Also given, I think, about $100 million to Super PAC last. She's someone who cares very deeply about American policy towards Israel. She is very supportive of the right-wing Likud government Netanyahu and the possible annexation in toto of the West Bank and right-wing Israeli politics. She's given Trump $100 million and clearly thinks she's going to get something from it. I think it's fair.
Okay, but wait, what about AIPAC and its lobby groups giving money to Democrats? I mean, look, it's both sides. Representative Thomas Mass, Republican, probably the only one that doesn't have a bebe sitter. But everyone in Washington, D.C., Democrat and Republican, have an AIPAC, a bebe sitter. Because they are a bebes and they need to be taken care of. Because AIPAC owns every single one of your favorite politicians. Just like all the other lobby groups, Big Oil, the military industrial complex, Big Pharma, the prison industrial complex, the healthcare insurance industrial complex. Everybody, everywhere, if they got the money and the cash, they're going to buy your Democratic and Republican lawmakers in the United States Senate and in the United States House of Representatives. If you think you're being represented, oh, you sweet summer child, you're better off believing in Santa Claus.
Rational to say. You put out a video the other day sort of addressing people in the Democratic coalition who are frustrated or upset at the Biden-Harris administration towards Israel regarding the Gaza war and explaining why you think it's so important to vote for Harris. Give me the version of that talk, particularly given the context that I think Miriam Adelson's probably got a good read on what you're going to get from a Trump presidency.
Well, look,
Trump is bad. Okay, I'm tired of hearing that, okay? Look, I don't want Kamala to win. I don't want Trump to win. I don't like any one of them. I don't like both parties. I don't like them, okay? And people say, "Well, gee, kid, you got to choose a side." No, I don't. When has the Democratic Party or Republican Party represented and worked for the American people? All what I've been seeing so far under their leadership in red and blue states throughout the decades I've been alive, and also hearing tales from my elders who have passed away, is that Washington, D.C. doesn't give a crap about you and me. Their donors, their owners control them, and the donor supersedes the voter. That's how it is. That's what we have. We don't have a democracy. We don't have a constitutional republic, which is what we are. We're an oligarchy. And in an oligarchy, you, the people, don't have a say. And it's people like this nutless wonder, this jagoff named Bernie Sanders, that led us down this road of thinking that somehow we could reform it. You can't reform something that's inherently sick. You can't be eaten by the bear and change the bear in the inside, because the bear is going to take its morning dump and poop you right on out. That's just how it is. That's the Democratic Party. That's the Republican Party in a nutshell. But it's okay, guys. Just focus on the key issue, and that is Trump's bad. Help, help, help. The economy is suffering. Trump's bad. Help, help, help. World War III is around the horizon. Trump is bad. Help, help, help. There's a genocide. Trump is bad and Kamala is speaking.
The bottom line is there are many, many millions of Americans, including myself, who strongly disagree with Biden's and Harris's position on Gaza and their support of Netanyahu. I don't have to go into a great length now. I think viewers understand that what's going on in Gaza now is horrific in terms of the loss of life, the number of people injured, and now, because Israel is blocking humanitarian aid, we're looking at mass malnutrition of children and starvation. And they're going to make it even worse by not allowing UNRWA to provide humanitarian aid in Gaza.
Now I could stomach listening to this cuck for so long because you're going to talk about coalition building and why we got to stand against Trump, why Trump is bad, why Trump is going to do this. Because, see, there's a bigger issue here because Bernie's begging harder. He's begging really hard about why voters need to support Kamala and why pro-Palestinian voters need to back Kamala. But that's not happening. I want to pull up this video here. As Arab voters are leaving Kamala and looking at Trump, or is it at third parties?
Here in Michigan, the Arab and Muslim vote could swing this election, a key demographic that is slipping out of Vice President Harris's hands as days go by. And voters tell us they're angry over a stance on Israel and Gaza. We talked to an imam here in Dearborn, Michigan, which is home to the most Arab Americans in the country. They tell me the country needs stronger leadership. How is the Biden-Harris administration failing in the Middle East?
If you're going to keep the war in Middle East, Jewish and Muslims killing each other, this is a World War III. So it's so dangerous. We don't allow it somebody. We need a strong man, and I hope and I think Mr. Trump will do it.
And he's
I know we want there to be peace, but even if Trump, let's say Trump is successful, there's a ceasefire. Peace. That ain't happening. That ain't happening. It might be temporary. How long it will last is unknown. All what this war has done is laid the foundations for the next one. It's too little too late. And if we really wanted to stop it, Biden and Kamala should have been leading the way, and they failed for a whole year. I am so sorry. Maybe it could be done. Maybe. I'm being generous here. I can't predict how people would act or how Trump is going to act. But as I've said before, everybody in D.C. has an AIPAC babysitter, both Democrat and Republican.
He's not the only one, Bill, who is shifting here on the ground in the Arab Muslim community. He says that's happening across the board also with the black votes. We'll see exactly what happens in just a few days.
Certainly one to watch in a big way, too. Alexis, nice to see you live there in Detroit.
But there's also something else here, too. The coalition. Hey, Bernie, beg harder. Latino voters tied up in supporting Kamala or Trump.
In Arizona, it appears Latino men are essentially split on who should run the country. NBC News correspondent David Noriega headed to the Tucson area to find out why.
Katie, one of the biggest questions hanging over this election is whether Donald Trump will be able to make inroads with people of color in the way that polling and a lot of our reporting suggests.
I also want to acknowledge something in the chat here, too. That's a Oogie. I think I said your name right. The Muslims who think Trump is better are fools. Never trust a two-party system, people. That's why we are double haters here. Screw the two-party system. Clown Death Circus 737 says Trump has one too. AIPAC babysitter? Oh, absolutely he does. Super Spam 808 says, I just want people to stop dying. See, when you say it, I know you're telling the truth. Any politician that talks that way, no. Let's see. S-Con says Trump also has a Zio babysitter. Either way, we're screwed. And Edward Shore says Bernie's not bothered by Gaza. Not enough to call to vote for third party. Absolutely. Again, folks. Okay. And by the way, Roger Meadows brings this up. BW, most Arab Muslims are voting green, though. And that is something that's happening. That's something that's happening a lot.
He's doing. That would have implications not just for this election, but for the next decade or more of American politics. And in the Southwest, in Nevada and Arizona, where I was this week, if he does, it will be largely thanks to Latino men. Take a look. Even with voting well underway in key swing states, both campaigns are still scrambling for a small but crucial slice of the vote: Latino men.
And I'm so proud that we're getting support from Latinos like never before.
Part of the agenda that I've rolled out that I am very aware how it would affect Latino men, for example.
Materials for all different roof systems.
Men like Gustavo Portillo, a manager at a roofing supplies company in Tucson. He's not Donald Trump's biggest fan, but he'll be voting for him anyway. What's the main issue motivating you to vote?
To me, the main topic will be economy, because I live on it pretty much on a daily basis. Like the increasing on groceries, the increasing of rents, the increasing of materials that we sell to our customers.
In the last 8 years, Trump has made steady gains with Latinos. Much of that is driven by men. While Harris leads Trump by 26 points with Hispanic women, the candidates are tied with Hispanic men. Trump is especially popular among young men without college degrees, like 33-year-old first-time voter Chris Gonzalez, an employee at Gustavo's roofing supply company.
I love that he's not censored by anybody.
Do you think some of the things he says are offensive or inflammatory?
I think he can be over the top sometimes, but that's just one of the reasons why I like him.
Some view Donald Trump's gains with Latinos as part of a historic realignment. Others are more cautious.
Yes, by the way, now everyone in the chat is saying, hey, they're really pronouncing that Latino. Latino. You know, I'm surprised you're not using Latinx. Come on, BSDNC, you're going to upset the SJWs.
Waiting to see whether election results match the polling. The Harris campaign knows that they've been losing these voters, and they need to invest heavily into preserving as many of them as possible in the home stretch before the vote.
We've got 6 Spanish phone banks a week. We've got a Spanish team of volunteers dedicated to reaching Spanish-speaking voters. So we're being super intentional about our outreach here to make sure that people turn out and vote.
In Spanish-language TV ads, the Harris campaign has far outspent its rivals. It launched an initiative called Hombres con Harris, with much of the messaging focused on the economy, and it's pulling in celebrity heavy hitters. And
yes, because nothing says, hey, we feel your pain, than talking to a bunch of jag-off celebrities. I'm vomiting in my brain. Blech.
On some issues.
Hold on. Who are the celebrities that they got? Oh, no, this ain't going to do it. This ain't going to do it. I don't think so. I don't think so, gentlemen. I don't think so, sir.
Celebrity heavy hitters. And on some issues, like protecting immigrants already in the U.S., Harris polls much better than Trump.
We have a lot of family that are dreamers, and if Trump gets his way, he's going to get rid of them.
But the Harris campaign's closing message hasn't made its way to Chris Gonzalez. And he wouldn't buy it if it did.
I think if Kamala...
Voluntera says, I'm a Latino, and I hate it when they pronounce stuff like that. Why, hello, I'm the alternate dimension version of Kit Cabello. I'm a corporate media sellout. And we're going to be listening and hearing this in-depth interview and conversations with Latinos in America. I know, they're overpronouncing it, man. Latino, Latinas. You gotta be smooth with the language. You gotta be smooth with it. Don't overpronounce it, corporate media. You'll cause people to hate you. Golden Monarch, none of the above 2024. Hold on. Hold on. Dr. Nick, Pope Dr. Nick on Kick. How do you feel about corporate media pronunciation? We got to hear from our official Pope. We have to hear from him.
I gets into office, I don't think much will change. I think it'll get worse.
In a state that Biden won by less than 1/3 of 1%, it's one of this year's biggest questions. Will there be enough voters like Chris to carry Trump back to the White House? This strategy is a big gamble for the Trump campaign because this exact demographic, Latino men, especially young ones without a college degree, they're among the lowest propensity voters out there. So even if they say they like Donald Trump, even if his messages resonate with them, there's no guarantee that Trump will actually be able to cash in on their votes next.
Flex Dig says, I'm a one-issue voter. Pronouns. Flex, get up, go see the White House counselor. Talking about pronouns. Not in this household. Get up, go see the White House counselor.
Next week. That's what we're going to be looking out for. Katie?
So there you go. All right, folks. All right, folks. Hope all of you are doing well. Hope all of you are doing well. And again, this is just showing the absolute stupidity of the Democrats, the absolute pathetic actions of the Democrats, and just really how they've been conducting themselves as an institution, as a political party. So, Democrats, you're begging. Bernie, you're begging. You're not begging hard enough to earn my support. And also in regards towards Kamala's great coalition, you know, you did have a coalition. Bernie, you actually built it up. I mean, you got a lot of people actively engaged in 2016. I mean, I remember that. I remember what happened in Philadelphia. I remember what happened to your supporters and volunteers there. And then in 2020, when people had the audacity of thinking you can actually do it, you built that coalition again. And what did you do? You abandoned them. And now Democrat voters, traditional voting blocs, are looking elsewhere. Are they voting for Republicans? Yeah, some are. Others are looking at third parties and independents. Beg harder, Bernie. Today is November 1st. Folks, I'm not including the 5th, but there's November 2nd, November 3rd, and November 4th. 3 days. Uno, dos, tres. 3 days till November 5th, and this nightmare's over. They're getting scared and desperate. And just a side note, you know, Kamala doing interviews and reaching out to people, it's not enough. It's everything that she says isn't enough. Now, maybe voter turnout will favor Kamala, maybe it won't. But Democrats, your time is up. And people are going to be paying a very close attention what's going to happen on November 5th. We here at Hardlens Media will be covering it. So stay tuned. Keep your heads on a swivel. November 5th is going to be one hell of a show. But I know I'm going to win. No matter what, Hardlens Media will win.
If you fool me once, it's because I didn't think a guard was needed. If you fool me twice, it's because I didn't learn the lesson, so it bears repeating. If you try the same play 3 times running, it's because you know what's coming, and you didn't come to lead, you came to purposefully be misleading. Democracy is dry. It's been a century bleeding. The husk is gaping open to the sky, out in the field where all the sheep just keep on circling and worrying and bleeding. They're waiting for the shepherd that they've tried to hide their faith in, but he's so appealing. They'd gladly give their fleece. It's such a freeing feeling that even when he leads them to the ledge and starts to urge them on, they're positively beaming. They were told that they were on their way to save democracy, so even as they plummet, they just gloat. They don't consider screaming. And halfway up the cliff, the shepherd's cozy little mittens wrap around the staff of shattered human hopes on which he's leaning. He shows the gentle grin that used to stir your inner spark, and he says, "Not me, us," as he gestures to the oligarchs. He knows that if he runs, they're going to stop him like a stolen car. And he'll easily surrender because it bought a lot of time for laying mines in all the grassroots. Suddenly, the tiniest of movements gets you blown apart. Suddenly, you're in a play that's set on an election day and voting for the fire, unaware you're playing Joan of Arc. Suddenly, the shepherd pulls the rug and slips a hood across your clueless mug, and everything goes zero dark. I'm gonna warn you once more before it's 2024 and you fuck around and find out who your heroes are. To take a step back from the herd, and you'll learn that you can spot who all the shearers are. If you really want to know the product that they're selling, I can take you where the mirrors are. If you think your voice is finally ready, I can tell you where the lyrics are. I hid them in a box I had to bury neath the cobble when they carpet bombed the promenade and raided all the street bazaars. Now all we've got's the marketplace, and you're too broke to even bother asking what the options for your treatment are. Suddenly, the raw debris of homeless human dignity will find it has 100 teeth for every badge and sweeper's arm. Suddenly, they speak in solidarity and each is armed. Suddenly, the sheep can see the shepherd for his truest form and all pitch in at once to help him buy the farm. And now it's zero dark, and all is calm and peaceful save the distant wail of sirens that approach beside the flames of dawn. Suddenly, the carrot's just a string that's on a stick, and all your movements make you sick because the prize is gone. Now, we could go and flee into the forest low and meek, or we can exercise our right to feast and go and graze on Biden's lawn. Because he's been sowing seeds that seep a toxin out to sap a bit from each of us and keep on leeching decades after Biden's gone. So regardless who they summon out of hell to come and do the job, it will not feel like Biden's gone. But in that time of hopelessness, you cannot trust the shepherd when he once again comes asking you to humor him his siren song. And it's cute that you can innocently, honestly assume that's just a symptom of a system that was wired wrong, and not the standard feature, basic function, primary objective of a mass hypnosis firebomb. You don't need to know the words to cry along. Someday it'll hit you like an officer who pistol whipped their ride along. Broke his jaw and kept his job and kept it moving right along. That voting isn't red or blue or black or white or right or wrong. Voting's like a firing squad where you can choose the firearm. It's slow extinction by and large. It's Super Tuesday supercharged. It's all your futures, roots and all, just tossed out on a garbage barge. It's everybody dropping out to push the biggest oligarch. It's everybody voting fire, registered as Joan of Arc.